about it, gotta dream about it, gotta find a way to do the things that make you feel mellow. Gotta think about it, gotta dream about it, gotta find a way to do the things that make you feel mellow. Gotta think about it, gotta dream about it, gotta find a way to do the things that make you feel mellow. Gotta think about it, gotta dream about it, gotta find a way to do the things that make you feel mellow.
Welcome to the 8th Annual JVS Women's Leadership Network Conference. And now, please welcome your host, Sharon Tay.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 8th Annual Women to Women Conference, presented by the JVS SoCal Women's Leadership Network, or WLN, a philanthropic membership group dedicated to serving women in career crisis or transition, including women launching their careers. The WLN works to sustain, expand, and enhance JVS SoCal's comprehensive array of programs that positively impact the future of women and families of diverse backgrounds throughout Southern California. Hello, everyone. I'm Sharon Tay. I'm a broadcast journalist covering 30 years of television news, and many stories on women has given me a deep appreciation for what it means to overcome adversity. That said, I am thrilled to be part of this wonderful organization and today's broadcast. I was born in Singapore and moved to the States at the age of 7. My parents educated me both in the Philippines and the States. As a child, I had to experience, but overcame, many different cultural dynamics. I have to admit, it wasn't easy. Then came another set of challenges, the professional kind. In 1992, I came to LA, and over the last 28 years, I have proudly been your television reporter and anchor for Southern California. I'll admit the road was tough in lots of ways. As an Asian American, I had to break down barriers, and like all of our speakers here today, I've overcome many obstacles. Nevertheless, I've always pushed forward with tremendous focus, courage, and hard work. But I couldn't do it without the support of mentors. In time, my work spoke for itself, and I managed to pick up a few Emmys along the way and establish myself in the field of broadcast journalism. Well, now that you know a little about why I'm here, I'd like to show you over the next 90 minutes the shining accomplishments of other women of all walks of life displaying leadership that we hope will make you feel connected and, of course, inspired. Now, for those of you who are joining us for the very first time, this event is about women sharing their journeys and challenges while learning from and inspiring one another. Over the past 8 months, we have all experienced loss, fear, and frustration. But I want you to know that the Women's Leadership Network and the women we support allow us to feel something even more enduring: hope. This year's theme, Our Voices, Our Impact, celebrates hope through the voices of our speakers and clients who have overcome tremendous obstacles to achieve success. Joining us this morning are two incredible women who have set precedents and broken barriers in their respective fields. Julia Stewart, a Fortune 500 CEO in a male-dominated industry and trailblazing entrepreneur, and Yola Reitman, a former Mossad agent who went undercover to rescue Ethiopian Jews and bring them to safety. Now, these women are transforming pathways to create positive change and taking bold ideas and to unlock opportunities for others. Julia and Yola share a connection with two JVS SoCal clients, Joy Collins and Zina Manzare, who also join us this morning. Like our speakers, Joy and Zina have overcome obstacles, reinvented themselves, and are now on new career paths. Our theme also celebrates the work of the Women's Leadership Networks, aka WLN, and the way we all come together to create a positive impact on women seeking new careers and economic stability. I am pleased now to introduce you to two of the remarkable women whose vision and perseverance makes this event possible. It is my pleasure to introduce this year's event co-chairs, Lauren Kurzweil and Deborah Schwartz.
Thank you so much, Sharon. Good morning. I am excited to hear about our speaker stories to celebrate the life-changing impact of JVS SoCal's job training programs and to highlight the important role the WLN plays in supporting those initiatives. This morning's conference would not have been possible without our incredibly generous sponsors, with very special recognition to our presenting sponsors, Terry and Jerry Cole, and the late Susan W. Robertson. Sue passed away after a difficult battle with cancer. Her support of the WLN was instrumental ever since our founding. Even in her final months, Sue sent an extremely generous donation to support our conference by creating her own category called Got a Sponsor. And that's an example of her many selfless gestures as well as her extreme sense of humor. For nearly 30 years, Sue was very passionate about the work we do, and especially the impact of our programs that change the lives of our clients, their families, and our community. She was a former JVS board chair and one of the only 3 women to serve in this capacity. Sue was also a proud WLN member and an early believer and supporter of the JVS WOW Mentoring Program. She was also a generous supporter and a strong advocate of the JVS Scholarship Program. Along with Rick Powell, who followed her as board chair, Sue started JVS SoCal's endowment to ensure generations to come will receive career and job placement assistance when needed. Sue is survived by her husband Carl, her son Chip, daughter-in-law Carrie, daughter Kara, and 3 lovely grandchildren, Lou, Lila, and Rose. We are so grateful to Sue and her incredible support over the years. Her legacy will live on through the women that she has helped. A huge thank you also to our fellow members of the WLN Executive Council who work together year-round to plan this remarkable conference. And now I'd like to turn it over to Deb.
Thank you, Lauren. We are so proud of the tremendous growth this conference has achieved over the years and excited about our first year's virtual event. The WLN started when 3 friends, Debbie Powell, Judy Flesh Rosenberg, and Eileen Koski-Fracchia, wanted to find a way to support their favorite JVS SoCal program, WOW Mentoring, which is an innovative approach to career mentoring for women in career crisis or in transition. And so they started it. And understanding the power of women helping women, they created the JVS Women's Leadership Network, which is a group of women and some men made up of both individuals and a growing community of both corporate and philanthropic sponsors. This group is dedicated to supporting women who seek out JVS SoCal's job programs in order to build new careers and better lives for themselves and their families. As this year has shown us, employment continues to be a key indicator of whether our community is thriving or simply surviving. In the past year, JVS, SoCal, and the WN have really stepped up their game and continue to be a leading provider of job readiness, training, placement, and retention programs. And as an essential service provider, we immediately overhauled our program delivery model in order to meet the needs of the world in crisis. The organization transitioned from face-to-face services delivery to a virtual approach and completely transformed how we bring services to our clients, who are desperately in need of our support. And here are a few ways the WLN has responded to these women in crisis. Knowing that the majority of our clients would not be able to attend classes in person, we helped fund the JVS SoCal's development of a brand new distance learning platform. In order to serve more clients virtually, we supported JVS SoCal staff's ability to work remotely and to serve clients through an emergency fund. And we continue to support women through our WLN Impact Grants program, helping 21 women to gain access to online certification courses, equipment, and the connectivity to enable remote work using computers, desks, Wi-Fi, software, and reliable transportation. Forging ahead with our newly blended virtual and in-person format, the JVS Works program, which trains people in high-growth industries like banking, healthcare, and property maintenance, graduated their first ever virtual classes, with 43 people completing one of these programs and interviewing for new jobs. You are a part of something we can all be proud of, a group of women committed to making a genuine and positive impact in the lives of other women. In addition to our speakers, we will hear today from 2 of our clients who have graduated from the JVS SoCal suite of healthcare programs and have been impacted by the COVID-19 crisis. Both are serving our community through their new careers and helping us through these really difficult times.
An entrepreneur and pioneer in the restaurant industry and one of the longest tenured female Fortune 500 CEOs, Julia Stewart has overcome barriers and broken glass ceilings throughout her career. She started at 16 as a waitress, working her way up to become president of Applebee's and then CEO of Dine Equity. Here is Julia Stewart.
I'm honored to be with you today to support JVS's Woman to Woman Conference. I want to start out by first congratulating each of you for showing up for yourself today. By prioritizing your needs, investing the time, and seeking out inspiration and support in these truly unprecedented times, you are that much closer to achieving your full potential, both professionally and personally. This is something to be celebrated. Now, many of you have joined us today because you are experiencing a significant life challenge right now, or you have in the past, or you're supporting someone who needs your encouragement right now. Every one of you has your own story. My hope is that my story empowers you to continue on your journey. You know, throughout my life, I've always gravitated towards the water. The ocean has been a restorative place for me. Countless times I've found myself at the beach, touching the water, toes in the sand, ruminating and reflecting, processing life's lessons and learnings, grounding myself in moments where my resolve turns into empowering me to strike out on a forward path. And in those seaside reflective moments, I forged my own personal philosophy, core beliefs that I would return to over and over again to sustain me in the good times and the bad. The beach fed itself into a powerful acronym that I utilize to this very day. B is for believe. E is for empower. A is for affirm. C is for courage. And H is for hope. Could you just take a moment and repeat those words with me? Believe, empower, affirm, courage, and hope. I guarantee that you already have each of those qualities within you. Now, it's just a matter of putting them all together to find your own personal beach. Now, hold on to those words. I'm going to come back to them in a minute. So my story begins in the Central Valley of California, where I was born and raised as an only child with a family life that was challenging, to say the least. And one of my strongest memories is running away from home at the age of 11, which culminated in the police eventually finding me and returning me to our dysfunctional household. My parents soon divorced, and I spent my time being shuttled back and forth between them. And as I'm sure many of you can relate to, experiencing this kind of adversity at such an early age quickly turned into action. I became self-reliant and learned to identify and act upon important transition points in my life. Courage. Now, the first job I ever had was at a local IHOP. And in those four walls of that A-frame restaurant, I began to create a sense of family and stability that my own family couldn't provide. The power of IHOP, in a moment, I'll come back to. But in the meantime, I upped my game, waiting tables at another upscale dinner house restaurant, working nights, and going to high school during the day. Then one day came a moment of truth. I moved out at the end of my junior year in high school, and I told no one. For everyone's sanity, I became the adult and did what had to be done. And that first job as a food server provided me with enough financial wherewithal to change the cycle of hate and abuse I was experiencing. Both powerful motivators. It was a transition that changed my life forever. But to stay on that path, I knew I would need a scholarship to get to college. So I joined the speech team, honed my speaking skills, and won first in the nation in dramatic interpretation. It won me a scholarship to college. And I would still need to work full-time through college, but I did. and I was hell-bent on making something of myself. And after graduating from college, my professional life found root with a job in sales, which eventually led to 18 years in various marketing positions, with increasing levels of responsibility, all within the food service industry. Courage and believe. Now here comes another transition, where it met a vision I had for my career converging with an opportunity I had to take. So I was successful as the VP of Marketing for Stewart Anderson's Black Angus Cattle Company restaurants, which had several hundred restaurants at the time. And somewhere during those college and marketing years, I had decided I wanted to run something. Now, I wasn't sure about much else, but I was determined I wanted to be CEO of a company. And I begged my CEO at the time to move me into an operations position, because I instinctively knew no one would afford me the opportunity to run a company unless I had operations and P&L experience. And I'd read in the newspaper that Taco Bell was hiring people into a new program called the Advanced Management Recruit Program. It was an experiment taking people from all walks of life. So fast forward, I was accepting an award for outstanding advertising for Stewart Anderson's at a luncheon, and I'd heard that John Martin, then the CEO of Taco Bell, was going to be there. Sure enough, I found the seat assignment, and when no one was looking, I switched name tags so I would be placed next to him. And the rest, as they say, is history. Against great odds, first for being a woman, and second, that I came recommended from the top down as opposed to from the process of HR, I was hired as an assistant restaurant manager, and I started my career at the bottom, working nights and weekends as a manager at a single Taco Bell. And I loved it. I loved it because I quickly worked my way up in the organization, and 6 years later, I was running the entire US franchise organization, one of the largest in the country. Empower and affirm. And shortly after taking the job as the advanced management recruit, I married. And at 42, I had my first child. And as I worked my way through and up at Taco Bell, one thing was clear. Many men did not like my success. And candidly, that made me want it more. Courage. Shortly thereafter, I received a call from an executive recruiter that said Applebee's was looking for a president, and I fit the bill perfectly. This was a dilemma since I really liked Taco Bell and the new parent company, Yum Brands, but I instinctively knew they were never going to make a woman president. So I left Taco Bell and I joined Applebee's in Kansas City with my family in tow. And little did I know of another transition that was imminent. I was pregnant with my daughter, and I was told, due to the 4 miscarriages I'd had previously, the odds were not in my favor. However, if I wanted to try and carry the baby to full term, I'd have to have a shot of progesterone once a day for 12 weeks. If the baby survived those 12 weeks, we had a good chance. I gave birth to Aubrey at 44, and today she's a thriving 21-year-old, and the transition taught me a great deal about what is possible. Now, my hospital chart, you should know, read geriatric pregnancy, the nerve, hope, and empower. Now, I'd been promised when I first joined Applebee's that I would become the CEO once I turned the company around. And it had been 3 years and much of the turnaround was complete. And so with confidence, I met with the chairman and CEO and shared the success. It was time to become CEO. And he said, no, I'm not going to promote you. And I thought he meant not at this time. So I took out my pen and paper and I was prepared to take notes of what I needed to do to further demonstrate my capability. Instead, he said, no, never. And after careful reflection that night, I went in the next day and quit. And he explained I couldn't possibly quit because if word got out that I had left, the stock would tank. And this seemed rather odd and perplexing to me, and I eventually negotiated a departure and began looking for a new opportunity. Believe. So I found IHOP and they found me, and a wonderful opportunity that brought me and my young family to Southern California. Unfortunately, 3 years later, tragedy struck. My husband was killed in a motorcycle accident. Another transition. My kids were 7 and 5, and not an easy time. Affirmation and courage. Time heals. I eventually found my second husband on an airplane, married, and together we raised his one and my two. Hope. And after 5 years, we turned IHOP into an incredibly successful company, and my greatest fear was we had no debt. So I began to look for an acquisition, and I found out that Applebee's was having an incredibly difficult time. And after much effort and due diligence, we acquired Applebee's. And yes, on the day the deal closed, I did call up the chairman and CEO who had not promoted me, and I told him I had to let him go. Now, you don't borrow $2.3 billion for revenge, but I have to be honest with you, at that very moment, it felt good. Transition and affirmation. The acquisition enabled us to become the largest sit-down restaurant chain in the world. And after more than 16 years at the company, the board of directors and I agreed to disagree, and I stepped down. And not easy. My heart and soul had been with that company and what we had created. Hope. So the beach was calling, so I took some time off and then began to search for what was next. And I found sexism and ageism as I interviewed. And during this transition, I became aware that my mother was showing the early signs of Alzheimer's. And after getting her situated, I visited with a specialist who explained that my mother had 2 downfalls: eating processed food her entire adult life, virtually a TV dinner a night, and living a life with virtually no happiness. So I went and sought out a specialist and asked him, what can I do to help my mother? And his response was, nothing. You can keep her comfortable and safe. But if you want to try to do something, you could make a difference in other people's lives. Empower. That was the start of me deciding to start my own wellness company, which launched last month. You can visit us at alorix.com. Quite the transition. Hope. Transition is an opportunity once again as my journey turns to yet another new, exciting chapter. But let me be clear, through all the transitions of my life, the beach was always with me. I believed in myself. I felt empowered every step of the way. I affirmed to myself and reminded myself I was loved and I was going to love others. I always had courage. I had to. I wanted to have hope, to believe it could be better, and inevitably, it was. Wherever you are, whatever you're going through, decide what that beach means to you. Believe in the beach, see it, remind yourself, and repeat these words. Believe, empower, affirmation, courage, and hope. You can and will succeed.
Wow. Thank you. Julia, some truly inspiring words. Now, I can relate to that. I was in the broadcasting industry where it was once male-dominated. What kind of advice can you give women out there who are trying to make it in a male-dominated business?
Yeah, I'm a big believer that you have to find the right company and the right culture, and you have to ask the right questions when you're interviewing. If the company really doesn't support women and men equally, or people of color, I don't think you should work there. I think you really genuinely need to find a culture that fits for you, and it may not be the right place. But finding a company that really believes in empowering all people to their fullest, that's the kind of company you want to work for.
And you talk about diversity. How important is diversity in the workplace?
I don't think, I can't think of anything more important. You know, there are famous people who've talked about you want half of a company. I mean, you want both men and women. You want people of color. You want it all, because that diversity is what makes you a better company. Whether you're nonprofit, whether you're profit, you want that diverse group of not just color and race and whatever, but you want differences of opinion. You want people who come from all walks of life. That's what makes it a great company.
Julia, thank you so much for
you.
sharing your story. How inspiring, right, ladies? Joy Ava Collins is one of JVS SoCal's clients who participated in several career training and advancement programs. I know you'll be inspired by Joy's journey and achievements.
In Azerbaijan, when I was 6 years old, I was alone with my mom. Her blood pressure spiked, and she just said, "Give me this medicine. If you're not going to give it to me, I will die." I just ran and grabbed this medicine and just inject her. That's the time I know I want to be a nurse, and that has been my goal since then. I moved to America to realize my dreams, my goals, and then here comes the reality to snap on your face and saying, "Hey, you're alone here." I was working in 2 jobs, living with 6 roommates, just to saving to make sure I'm gonna have enough food for tomorrow. I was hopeful, but at the same time I was struggling. Luckily, I have a friend. She knew about GVS. I told GVS I want to be a nurse. They said, "We can start with this program, and we have other programs as well."
She needed assistance in getting her career started.
That was the happiest moment. It was so much struggle, so after for a long time to hear that.
In the HealthWorks program, Joy was a top student.
HealthWork program for me was very important. I learned to be professional. Mock interviews and the resume preparation helped me a lot.
Upon graduating, Joy was placed at Sunrise Assisted Living Facility.
I learned compassion.
Joy was in nursing school and getting ready to graduate, but wanted to move her career forward.
I tried so many times to find a job as an operative room nurse. I talked to Marianne, it was on the phone. She had a clear plan for me.
I nudged Joy to volunteer more.
I listened to GVS and I volunteered at Cedars-Sinai. I got offered to work there, and I'm happy where I am right now because that was a kind of my dream job. I was awarded the Impact Grant by WLN. I enrolled for perioperative course. This is going to be a big help to become the OR nurse.
Joy is a great example of someone who really took advantage of the comprehensive nature of JVS programs. The WLN helped Joy with mentoring and also through providing funds for her education.
I'm so grateful to WLN and to support my dream. I will keep moving and working at Cedars-Sinai. One day I hope I will be able to see my mom here.
Joy, we are so proud of everything you've accomplished and wish you continued success. Thank you for sharing your moving story. And now, to explain how you can join the WLN and help women like Joy, please welcome the president of the WLN Executive Council and VP and General Manager of one of my favorite stores, Bloomingdale's Century City, Kathy Sudo. Kathy?
Thank you, Sharon, and thank you to all of the amazing women who are here with me this morning. Joy, you are an inspiration to all of us and demonstrate the importance of resilience and perseverance. It matters that we pay it forward and ensure that other women like Joy have the support and resources so many of us have taken for granted. As unemployment rates soar to extreme levels, women have been disproportionately impacted by the pandemic because the industries most disrupted are those that predominantly employ women. It is more important than ever that we help women not only survive this crisis, but also begin to thrive. The JVS Women's Leadership Network mission is clear. We support the programs of JVS that serve and empower women in need. We rely on donations and the proceeds from this conference, as well as our major gift initiative, to make that possible. In short, we rely on you. Many of you have already given generously today. We thank you. Perhaps you've already been moved to do more, or perhaps it's the first time attending our event. Now is the chance to help. I'm going to demonstrate just how easy it is to make a gift and change a life. If you take your cell phone out, just text the word LEADER to the number 41444. You will then receive a text with a link to make a donation to the JVS SoCal website. You can make a gift during this virtual event or after the event concludes. If you've not done so already or are new to our program, please consider becoming a WLN member at $1,000 and supporting our work with us throughout the year. Or make a gift in honor of someone who mentored you, opened doors for you, or supported your goals in a way that made a difference. We'd like to raise at least $75,000 during the course of this program, and with your support, we can help more women in need. Remember, to support us, please text the word LEADER to 41444. Now, I'd like to introduce another inspiring JVS SoCal client, Zena Mansoray. Zena is a JVS CareerWorks medical graduate. She grew up in Sierra Leone and lost her mother when she was only 1 year old due to inadequate medical care. Now, Zena is on a path to a career in healthcare. Zena?
Thank you, Kathy, and welcome everyone. So I'm Zena from Freetown, Sierra Leone, and I lost my mom at the age of 1. Fortunately for me, in 2015, I was able to join my dad in the United States. That was when I started my nursing journey. I started it coming from a place wherein we suffered a lot when it came to medical facilities and also trying to improve the healthcare back there. That was why I lost my mom, and in 2014 and 15, I lost a lot of family members due to Ebola as well, the outbreak that we had. So coming from that built me up. When I came to America in 2015, I went to a community college and started my nursing prerequisites. During that process and finishing that up, applied to nursing schools and was fortunate to meet a representative of JVS. So JVS has been a part in my life since November. I went through the program and met Elise. She's not here today, but I'm sure she worked with you ladies as well. She has been a great inspiration in my life. Started the program, and one specific thing that I love about JVS is the diversity that we had in the class. And I learned a lot there about leadership skills, healthcare, finances, and also building myself up in how I can actually put myself in healthcare settings. So moving forward, I graduated the program in March and was able to apply to jobs. And not only did we graduate from the program, she helped us in acquiring jobs. She helped us to actually put in our resumes out, and finally at the end of it all, I had 4 jobs that was waiting for me. And then I chose Cedars-Sinai. I was so excited to work at Cedars. When I went to the interview, they asked me what brought me into healthcare, or why do I want to work in healthcare. Then I told them about how far I've come, and just want to create that impact back home when I get there. So starting as a nutrition care representative is just the entry-level position of what I want to acquire. But basically, I want to become a nurse. A nurse not only in America, but also in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Go there, sensitize people, and actually have workshops for them to help them prevent some of the things that you shouldn't die from, but you should actually heal from. So JVS started that platform for me, and I'm here today to tell them thank you, tell the wonderful and beautiful ladies here thank you, and also thank you for all your donations.
Zena, your story is one of the most amazing and incredible stories I've heard. I have to ask you, how did you feel when you first got your job at Cedars-Sinai?
It was amazing. I applied, and 2 weeks later I got the call that I was hired, and it has been an amazing experience just to work there, get to see what the nurses do, the doctors, and to see that rewarding interaction between patients and us, the nutrition care representative. It's rewarding.
I'm sure you must feel extremely grateful for getting that job.
Yes.
Does it boost your self-worth? I mean, compare your feeling of self-worth now compared to before you got the job.
Yes, it is. It's, as I just told you, it's very rewarding, and I never knew I'll be in a place like that. I mean, it's Cedars, right? Yeah. And to be part of it is just for them to just give me the opportunity to be there was rewarding, and I feel like it's fulfilling to a point that I know I'm working towards that goal that I always wanted to achieve, and that is just the starting point of it. So it's a big thing. Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you, Zena. Thank you for being here today and sharing your truly remarkable story with us. We could not be happier for you and have no doubt that you're going to be able to achieve all of your goals. All funds raised from this conference go toward JVS SoCal's programs, such as CareerWorks Medical, including Womentoring, JVS Works, Veteran Services, and WLN Impact Grants. They're small but impactful grants that enable women to go after their career dreams and professional goals. We encourage you to donate to support women like Zena. Please text LEADER to 41444. Thank you for making a difference. Speaking of women making a difference, I'd like to take a few moments to recognize two women who made a difference and have left strong legacies. One who made a quieter impact and one who is a household name. The first, Marilyn Brown of blessed memory, was the mother-in-law of WLN Executive Council member Linda Brown. Marilyn, who passed away in October, was an enthusiastic attendee at our conference and for many years left a lasting legacy by establishing the Mommy and Me program at the Stephen Wise Temple in LA. Thousands of mothers and children have benefited from the programs over the last 35 years. 2020 also marked the passing of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a pioneer for gender equity whose contributions to the nation and to women in particular were immeasurable. As a woman in the United States, if you ever owned a home, opened a bank account, or applied for a credit card, you can thank Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Her vision, her incredible intellect, and her legendary perseverance inspire us to find those same qualities within ourselves and to carry the work forward. The WLN commemorates Ginsburg's lasting legacy with a special guest and founding artistic director of Musique, Rachel Warby.
Hi, I'm Rachel Warby. Visionaries are people who do not accept the world as they find it. Visionaries know we can be better, and all women are natural visionaries. Think of the women who 170 years ago at Seneca Falls fought for women's right to vote when the entire notion of a woman voting was considered an hysterical dream. And think of the women who came before those women at Seneca Falls, who also imagined a better and more rightful place for women in society. 100 years ago, we ratified the 19th Amendment in this, our United States of America, guaranteeing women the right to vote. Today, we celebrate those visionary women who fought for that right, and we celebrate Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, our generation's standard bearer of all of the important rights that women have always craved, demanded, needed, and deserved. Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a visionary. We are all visionaries, and you who fight for humankind and basic human rights are visionaries too. Enjoy.
There's a light in the darkness, though the night is black as my skin. There's a light burning bright, showing me the way, 'cause I know where I've been. There's a cry in the distance. It's a voice that comes from deep within. There's a cry asking why a pretty handsome lies ahead. 'Cause I know where I've been. There's a road we must travel. There's a promise we must make. Oh, but the riches will be plenty.
Thanks, Rachel. That was so cool. Now, RBG will always be remembered for the many ways she empowered generations of women. The importance of recognizing women leaders became a tradition for the WLN in 2017. Now, this was the year the WLN presented its first ever Empowerment Award to a familiar face, Bloomingdale's Century City VP and General Manager, Kathy Sudo. Kathy was followed by the highly accomplished attorney, Zuckerman. And last year, we honored Sophie Alpert, an extraordinary leader who had a simple but profound idea that became the nonprofit Piece by Piece. Kathy, as you now know, is the WLN Executive Council President, while Roz and Sophie have continued to generously support the WLN. We thank them all for their ongoing commitment. Our 2020 honoree, Nikki Crawford, is a remarkable artist and leader who has generously hosted this conference for many years. Nikki is an award-winning actress, singer, and dancer who received her BFA from the prestigious Carnegie Mellon University drama program. She has played numerous roles in hit TV shows, as well as roles in the theater, musicals, such as Lady of the Lake in Spamalot, and Lena Horne in Stormy Weather. Her roles have earned her accolades such as NAACP Best Actress Theater Award. And now, we'd like to present the 2020 WLN Rosaline L. Zukerman WLN Empowerment Award to Nikki Crawford and thank her for her dedication and many contributions to the WLN. Nikki, we really do appreciate all the work you've done for WLN. And again, we cannot thank you enough.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And thank you for that wonderful introduction. This is absolutely beautiful. Thank you. What a magnificent privilege it is to be honored here today. As I stand here envisioning all the smiling faces, the actress and filmmaker in me cannot help but be both inspired and exponentially elated. I know each and every one of you possesses an immeasurable wealth of strength, as well as a bounty of beautiful, liberating, insightful, and inspiring stories just waiting to be told. I truly believe the history of adventure, or misadventure, that brought each of us together to this very moment in time are not without divine wisdom and purpose. We've all heard the phrase, everything happens for a reason, sometimes whether we want it to or not. Am I right? It's kind of like the phrase, expect the unexpected. When JVS SoCal staff members, Perrine Mann and Lindsay Thomas, called me this year, I just knew they were going to ask if I was available to work this year's event. For the past several years, I've had the great honor of hosting WLN's Woman to Woman conference, so I of course would have said yes. What I wasn't expecting, though, was when instead I was told that I would be the recipient of this year's Rosaline L. Zuckerman WLN Empowerment Award. Talk about the coolest plot twist of the day. I was dumbfounded, to say the least, and more importantly, I was and am truly honored. Over the years, I have been able to witness the incredible impact that WLN has had on the lives of so many brave and inspiring women. Each year, every story of soul-stirring strength, courage, and ultimate triumph was quietly planting seeds of inspiration for my own revelations and achievements. You see, many times as I listened to these valiant women share their stories, I was brought to tears hearing the weight of their challenges. And then I was filled with overwhelming joy when I saw how drastically their lives had been changed because someone cared enough to help. These amazing women had no idea their stories would have such a profound impact on my life. That's part of the magic of when women share their stories. We can change the world. As these seeds of inspiration ruminated in my mind, I went through my own season of internal dialogue and reflection that ultimately led me to begin implementing ways in which I too could have a positive influence on the lives of others. As an actress, I am blessed to be able to tell the stories of various women as penned by others. Now I wanted to challenge myself and go deeper. I dove in and I created my very own film company, AFBC Film Group. Having a film company forces you to truly focus on and refine your goals. I wanted to create projects that would not only be informative, but would also uplift, inspire, and empower others the way the stories I've heard here year after year. The art of storytelling isn't just the name of a Slick Rick album. It also speaks to the unwavering truth that being a filmmaker means that I'm combining art and storytelling in a way that holds tremendous and far-reaching power. People are consuming content at an even faster rate and on a larger scale than ever. With that power comes a responsibility that must be held in the highest regard. Through my productions, I realized that a single story could change someone's world. Following our corporate mission, we tucked in and got to work. AFBC Film Group has just released our very first project that centers on the coarse realities of domestic violence. In my research, I discovered that more than 1 in 3 women and more than 1 in 4 men in the U.S. report having experienced rape, physical violence, and/or stalking by an intimate partner in their lifetime. Sadly, since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, these statistics have only risen sharply. My team and I felt that if we put a much-needed spotlight on this issue that affects millions of people, not only could we create a dialogue, our film may possibly help someone find the courage to reach out for help and ultimately reclaim their right to a better life, free of fear and violence. With each viewing of our film story, the idea of that journey could be stirred into action. I am incredibly honored to be the recipient of this year's Rosaline L. Zuckerman WLN Empowerment Award. Being a filmmaker is not without its challenges. However, my experience with WLN and all of you eternally inspires me to show up, do the work, and tell the stories that need to be told. Now is the time for all of us to tell our stories. If you remember nothing else from me today, my hope is that you remember this. All of us have the power to change someone's world and the entire world. It starts as simply as sharing our stories. In the words of the formidable Dr. Maya Angelou, there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you. Now is the time to tell your story. Today, I challenge each of you to approach someone that you don't know and ask them to share with you their story. It's in moments like these and through organizations like WLN that seeds of influence are truly planted in the proverbial soil of monumental change. The story you could tell today could save a life tomorrow. The moments we make for one another right now will grow into an inspired movement that can and will change the world. So please don't wait, and always, always tell your story, even if your voice shakes. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Today is all about making connections, finding common ground, and learning from one another.
We share a common commitment, empowering women to better their lives.
Making a genuine and positive impact.
I'm very excited to be here today.
They're game changers, they're innovators.
I love my friends and I love what this stands for.
I had polio as an infant. I would watch TV. Barbara Walters was a woman who got a seat at the table and made herself comfortable.
In the final round, when I stood in front of the Denver Symphony Orchestra and I was called out, all of the brass section got up and walked out.
I come from the land of men, Saudi Arabia. I wanted to make wajda for the girls who stood against the system. My dream always as a filmmaker to tell stories about strong women.
He said, what do you want to be? And I said, I want to be a singer, Dad. I want to be a singer.
My mom was a factory worker who never spoke English. My dad was a dishwasher who never drove in his life.
It's not that you never fail, but the faster I could get over it emotionally, the faster I could set my sights on something new. I think of women as innovators, inspirational leaders, healers, fixers, inventors, organizers.
And I started thinking, who is this guy to limit what I can do? I became the first woman to coach men's professional baseball. in 2009. It was truly a dream come true.
I knew in my gut that this was my calling. That cloak of fear and trepidation just fell away.
My absolute proudest moment in the Bureau, seeing my daughter sworn in. That made us the first mother-daughter agents in the 100-year history of the FBI.
I didn't let those experiences defeat me. I let them embolden me. I became a founding organizer and board chair of the first Latino-owned bank in LA in over 30 years. The bank became the center of lending excellence in the Hispanic community. This was real impact.
I am very grateful for everyone who makes programs like these available. You cannot imagine the impact you're having in people's lives. By supporting the Women's Leadership Network, you have the power to help other women like me.
At its best, the program is a catalyst to help a person achieve their true potential, and perhaps even to help bring positive revelations in others.
Working with my mentor, Ellie Altschuler, has been so uplifting and empowering. She sees me and genuinely cares. It led me to build a community with the women of WLN in ways that are truly priceless.
A very special thank you to Bank of California, CIT One West Bank, and Susan and Fred Koenig, our empowerment sponsors.
And now, all the way from Israel, we have Yola Reitman joining us. Yola is a former Mossad agent who was one of the first women to go undercover and helped smuggle Ethiopian Jews to safety in Israel. Well, today, she helps victims of domestic violence gain access to psychological and legal aid, and also assists police with rescue operations for dogs raised for dog fights. Yola, welcome.
Hi, everybody. It is such an honor for me to talk to you, even though from very far away, not being with you there. I was supposed to come, but of course, as the circumstances are, I couldn't. But I would like to tell you my story anyway. I was around 30 years old when I was recruited by the Mossad to take part in a very exciting mission. The mission was to smuggle the Ethiopian Jews from Sudan, which was at the time an enemy country of Israel. And what we did was to take the Jews who came on foot from Ethiopia into Sudan. We smuggled them by the Navy or by Air Force to Israel. There was a team of Mossad agents who worked undercover in Sudan, and I was part of the team working there. We had a very exciting and interesting cover, which is something that you don't come across in the usual secret missions, not in even not Mossad missions or CIA missions. It was our cover story was a diving resort on the shores of Sudan. So not only was the mission very exciting, even our cover story and the time that we spent there was really out of the ordinary. What we did was we operated the place as a hotel during the day, and some nights, twice, once a month, twice, or every 2 months, we smuggled groups of Ethiopian Jews, and from there we took them with our cars and smuggled them out under the noses of the Sudanese army. Part of the training, of course, included practical missions to see how your resourcefulness works, if you have idea, if you can get out of impossible situations. And so actually it was a test of your mental capabilities. Another one was the fact how you behave in how you present yourself, how you play act. Another challenge was during those times was how you react when you're questioned. Of course, when you feel endangered, it is not that during the training I felt in danger because I knew it was training, but I was I came across a few interrogations to feel what it is like and how you react and how you, the best way you answer questions that are a bit not scary, but difficult to explain. So they prepare you in a way, but actually what happens, it is always your personality and your character and your abilities that finally at the end, they determine the way you act in the real mission, because they can prepare you and they can teach you some tricks maybe sometimes, but they never hold when there is a real situation. This is when you have to bring your own personality. My recruitment was the result of, you know, the saying, the right person at the right place at the right time. There was the Mossad who needed a certain type of people, and there was me who had most of the things that we were looking for. I was lucky enough, first of all, to speak a foreign language, because when you're looking for people to work undercover, of course, they have to present themselves as someone they are not. So I had this foreign language with my German, which was my mother tongue, and which I speak up to this day. So this was the first asset. Then there was, of course, the thing that I knew how to do. I was a diver, I was a seaman, I was an adventurer in some regards, and I was also a person that lives, that can live and likes the outside, the empty playing, the empty places, the nature, because the place that I was supposed to be sent to was, of course, that. So I had the first obvious requirements for the thing that they were looking for. And then, in addition, they were testing me, and I had to show that I had other qualities as well. Luckily for me, I passed the test, and they decided that I'm suitable to this mission they were wanting me for. And then, of course, I started training. Training is teaching you or training you to pretend to be someone else. You have to play act, you have to pretend you are not who you are, and you have to do various missions under guise, even in your hometown, without people recognizing you. And you go a process of training where they really check you all the time to see what you can do and how you react. And for that, you need some other traits that are important for such kind of mission. Me being a woman with a team of, among a team of men was at that time something completely out of the ordinary. There were very few women that had field assignments by the Mossad or other agencies, and it was not an easy thing, and was not an obvious thing to bring me. My commander, the one who recruited me and who wanted me to be there, he was the one who really fought for that. His superiors did not agree at the beginning, but he did not give up. He went up to the head of the Mossad, and he said he needs me because of various traits that I had that he needed. Being a woman in such a mission was something, I think, very important to the mission itself, because it was something out of the ordinary. I was a completely untypical person for being a spy in an enemy country. So the level of suspicion towards the whole group was much smaller, lesser than it would have been otherwise if it was only a bunch of men operating such a place. So this was important. In addition to that, there is a lot of curiosity towards women. It opened doors. It made people wanting to help more. It gave me the access to places that the men could not enter. For one, I had to gather information in a military camp, and I went in. As a woman, it was difficult. I pretended to lose my way. which is what women do so often, right? So it is very important if you use, first of all, the personalities of women, and if you use also the current idea of people around you about women, because if you use that to your end, then of course you can succeed. There was a very interesting relationship between me and the local Bedouin tribes. Actually, they were completely unused to women having a post or managing or being independent as I was, and I was something else. I was something different. When they saw me driving in the desert in the car, it was a big surprise. Like it was something that like a Fata Morgana, they didn't believe their eyes when they saw me at the beginning driving around, alone on the sand dunes all over. And but they came slowly. They came to the place, and they needed so many things, and I would help them. I would give them medicine. I would give them advice. I even went one time to help one of them at the hospital because the doctors would not want to speak to the wife of one of the Bedouins. And when I came, of course, it was they had to pay attention. So I became slowly kind of person, very known in the whole area, and the locals, they brought me always food and presents from whatever they could, some beads that they had, so these things. And I was a kind of like a big mama in a way. But we are Israelis, and they have no clue that we are Israelis. And then one day, two of them are waiting for me. I was looking for a pill or something because the guy had a headache or something. And I hear they're talking to each other, and one of them says Golda. The name Golda comes up in their conversation, and I was so surprised and a bit and really worried. What do they think that I'm an Israeli? Do they know that I'm maybe? Was there something in my something that gave away who I really was? And then they continued talking about Iron Lady, Margaret Thatcher. So I understood right away that for them, a strong woman is the name of Golda was so famous throughout the world, and even those remote Sudanese Bedouin tribes, they heard about Golda. They did not connect her to Israel or something else. It was like a figure of a strong woman, and I understood that a strong woman has an impact. And they came to me because I thought maybe I was of the kind, which is a big compliment, of course. But it was not because they thought about me as an Israeli. They thought about me as a woman. And this, in the same way as Margaret Thatcher, at that time, who was very, very famous, had an impact on the minds of the simplest men around the world. There was an impact. So that I think that strong women can make their mark on the world, even in societies that do not give them this opportunity. Thinking back about how I was before the mission or after the mission makes me, I have to think about many things, which is it only my personality, or is it also the way my life evolved? As a child, I was quite shy. I was a shy person in many ways. But I was very opinionated and stubborn, and in many ways I was really different than most girls at my age. But very early, I knew that I felt very sure of myself in regards to abilities of doing things that men do. I knew I had it in me, and my interests were completely different than most of the girls. My interests were in fields that are usually regarded as boys' interests, like adventures, boating, sea, machinery, things like that. But still, I was a girl like any other girl. But slowly, I became more and more sure of myself. And even before being recruited, I did many things that maybe showed what I'm capable to do when I'm on my own. I took decisions, I took risks, I was always very independent, which is something very important for such kind of mission. But still, when I came back from this mission, there was, because of being tested in all those fields in such an extreme way, of course, it gave me a kind of self assurance that it was much bigger, much stronger than before, because I tested myself and I saw that what I was capable of. And in addition to that, there was this fact that when I grew up, I was always interested in history, in the state of Israel, in the fate of the Jews in the world. I'm not a religious person, but I have a very very strong regard to our history, and I love history, of course, and I have a connection to what's happening, and I think that it is very unique what is happening in Israel. I mean, show me another nation, ancient nation, that came back to their homeland after 2,000 years and revived all their history. So this is something very unique, and to which I have a great respect, even though I'm completely non-religious. And as this mission that I was part of was so important to the Zionistic idea, bringing home, rescuing Jews from a place and to smuggle them into Israel. This is something that happened before, and it always seemed to me very heroic, and taking part in that gave me such a feeling of power and of being able to influence lives of others, and this is something that you cannot describe how good it feels, how happy it makes you. And doing that is something that brings you so much more happiness than buying a new car, or I don't know, buying expensive clothes or things like that. I never go to the hairdresser, for instance. I'll never spend money on that because it's so much less important than other things. But I gladly give the money to help someone if they need. So you find out doing things like that and taking part in something that is completely out of yourself, not for your own good. You come to know what it feels like to do some things that have a greater meaning than your personal well-being at the moment. And this is something that gave me a lot of power after that. And I found myself all my life after that, till this day, to be completely involved in other people's life, involved in a way, not gossiping about them, of course, but helping and doing things for them. I came back to my old job. I was a flight attendant. I became, of course, a chief stewardess, and I got many managerial jobs after that in many areas.
Wait. How do you transition from being a Mossad agent to a flight attendant?
Actually, I was working in El Al before I was recruited, and I loved my job because I was always a dreamer, a traveler, and I was even an owner of a yacht because I wanted to sail around the world. So this was for me a perfect job. And I left this job in order to do the mission, but the job was waiting for me. And in my job, a part of having this kind of life where no day is like the previous one, and you are in so many places nearly at once, which is my character exactly.
Wow, I am really impressed by that. But I'm curious, what do you think, or what is your philosophy on women attaining goals and breaking barriers?
I think today there are so many opportunities for women to really just break all boundaries. Very often, of course, the society does not accept it altogether, and still there are so many obstacles for women who want to achieve and to be in positions that men get to them very naturally. But still, it is a big part of that is because women themselves, they don't believe in themselves. It is because women don't try. Women are sometimes more modest, and they don't trust themselves. And in ways, they wait for people to do it for them. And also education. Still, many women educate their daughters in such a way that they don't push them to do anything they want, or they still, you can hear, this is not for a woman, this is not appropriate, this is, and so it depends, really, most of it depends on us. It depends on us as mothers who educate the children, the daughters, and it depends on us to really to take any challenge there is, and not to think that there is something that we cannot do, because usually we can do. Even if there's something, there are some areas where you think that maybe you don't have enough force, physical force for that. In most of the times, you don't even need that physical force. What you need is brain force and character force, maybe that. And women have very often so much more than many men. They have, in addition to intelligence and bravery and resourcefulness, they have that, so also intuition and feelings, and they have less ego, so they can achieve many things much better even than men. And once women understand that, they should grab every opportunity they have, and not even think twice about it if they can do it or not. Most of the time they can.
Yola, we know there's gender inequality, but is it an excuse to not push forward?
Completely not. Gender inequality exists everywhere, so we have to fight it. It's not that I'm saying that you have to do things that you don't like, even only because other men do it. No. If you want to do it, regardless if you're a man or a woman. And I think today that many men in many areas, they think as well. They say they push women forward, they accept women, and it is easier every day. It is easier because it is not only women who push it, also men around. I know many men around me, and they think like women in this regard. So the world is opening up, but now it depends on us women to take the opportunity, not to go back, not to give up, and even not to give up for family. And many women still think that if they work outside their house, that the children suffer. It is not true. I don't think so. I think that children who have a mother as a role model because she's so active and influential, it is so important, and life is completely different now. So this is the way that women should act. Women should educate other women, and the young girls should understand what the dreams should be like.
Yola, what a unique story.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a real pleasure. I hope next year I'll be there in person to meet you all. And goodbye. It was wonderful.
Thank you, Yola. Your story is unbelievable, and I so admire the work that you're doing to help underprivileged women in Israel impact the lives of so many in need. Our deep appreciation to all of the truly inspiring speakers, honorees who've joined us this morning, and all of the positive change they have brought to this world. And to Joy and Zina, who have shared moving stories with us, we are so grateful to you. Our heartfelt thanks to our presenting sponsors, Terry and Jerry Cole, and the late Susan W. Robertson of blessed memory, as well as her family. A very special thank you to the Bank of California and Susan and Fred Kunick, our empowerment sponsors. And thank you to all of the generous donors for making this such an extraordinary morning. And of course, to all of you who are joining us for this live virtual event and for making it possible to impact the lives of so many through the power of women helping women. Again, if you'd like to donate, please make your own impact by supporting us, the WLN, and our life-changing programs. Please text LEADER to 41444. We appreciate all of your contributions. And now, I'd like to welcome Sharon back.
Thank you so much, Kathy. You will each be receiving an email with a short survey about this morning's virtual program. We would be very grateful if you could take a few moments to share your feedback and suggestions with us so we can further fine-tune this event. Your comments and insights are really important to us. Our goal is to continue to make this the best women's conference in LA, and we need your participation to make that happen. And in closing, if you're not already a supporter of the JVS Women's Leadership Network, we sincerely hope you will consider joining. We promise you will feel great about the work we're doing, meet incredible like-minded women, and have fun in the process. Thank you to everyone who has contributed over the course of this program. Our team is recognizing donors live via Facebook and YouTube. You can check out both of these links for a real-time update on how much we've raised today. It has been my immense pleasure to host the WLN conference and to be a part of such a wonderful event. So, thank you to everyone who helped make this event possible. We hope to see you next year in person. Be safe and healthy. Goodbye, everyone, and thank you.